Commissioner Tebow,
Here.
Commissioner Christian Shady,
Here.
Commissioner Widdop,
Here.
Commissioner Sharp,
Here.
and Commissioner Dennis Shady, all present. Agenda item number 1, Mike Carter from GCG Associates to discuss the certificate of substantial completion, fish number 088047. Mr. Carter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What would you like me to do? I can kind of go over where the project is, or get specific questions, or what? I know that you've been discussing the certificate for quite a while now, with the, how would you like to handle this situation?
If I could let you know, Mike, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I
no
understand it's after hours. We do certificates of completion all the time, but this one seemed odd because there was so much work that was outlined in the certificate. They actually said 3 or 4 walkways had to be removed and replaced.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem like substantial completion. If you could explain that, where we are on that,
Okay.
and why we should be moving towards substantial completion.
Okay, so to give you an overview, the contractor, actually Cassidy Construction, came in and did the sidewalks. And when we went to the punch list, I basically, when he thought he was ready for the punch list, I started checking some of the grades. And some of the sidewalks, a handful, were big. The goal of the project was to make these, although the units are handicap accessible, is to have the walkways going into each door, the main entry, less than 5%. And if it wasn't less than 5%, it was going to be less than 8%, and there would be a railing there. So that was the goal of the project. When he built it, what happened was he built it, and then I went and checked his percentages, and some were steeper than that, some were not, above between the 5% and 8%. And then all of a sudden, okay, that means you need a railing. Mm-hmm. Technically you don't, because they're not really handicap accessible, but for ease of the people that live there, we decided to put railings in. We approached him and we made a list of the ones he had to correct. He's corrected the majority of them at this point. But what we discovered in the meantime is that, originally I took over this job. I don't know if you recall that or not. I'm not the original engineer on the job. It was Nikita, I guess I can say it. And I tried to help him get with the project. And what I did is I took his survey that he did originally and just assumed it was okay. And based on that, some of my grades to the end units, typically, what we found is that the elevation that he had on his plan could be up to 6 inches off. So
That was in the specs?
that was on the existing condition.
Okay.
Nikita did an existing condition survey, shot the elevations of all the floors, the elevations of the doors going in, and then the secondary entrance that. And what we found, what the contractor found is that, and I've confirmed that, is that the elevation of some of the end units on the buildings is not correct.
So our specification said the elevation was?
Yeah, it could be 4 inches or 5 inches off. Some are 2, which wasn't a big deal, but so that changes in that short. Those sidewalks are really short. They're only less than 20 feet, most of them. That means that if I had 4 more inches in elevation, it can make a big difference in the grade. It can go from 5%, 4.8% to 6% pretty easily.
Is there a range in there somewhere where you go from a walkway to a ramp?
Yeah, so a ramp is anything over 5%.
That's when you need the rails.
That's when you need the railing. If it's an accessible unit, then you need a railing. If it's the DHCD has taken the approach the last couple of years that they would like everything to be 5%, whether it's ADA units or not. And it's pretty difficult. I mean, what we have out there is not what I would like. It isn't the ideal design, but that's the direction that we're giving it. We want these units to have 8 or 5% ramps, at least to the main door. For the ones that died down with the secondary entrance, you can only do what you can when there's 3 feet between the two, and you're only 20 feet in there. So the contractor did this work. We picked up on some. He's done a lot of the changes. I think there's only like 3 left, and there's some railings to be done. So I feel like, and I held enough money. If you look at usually at substantial completion, we're at 95%.
Right.
Fund-wise, we're not there yet. Because what I do is I do the punch list and I back out what I think is a reasonable amount to withhold, including his retaining, so that I have enough money that if he runs away, we can go get somebody to do it. That's the approach that I use. So,
How much did you hold back?
Yeah, that's not in the
Okay.
substantial.
yeah, I didn't really, let me, hopefully I have all
Yeah,
that.
it would be on the last rec.
Yeah, do you have the?
We've only made one payment so far, capacity call for the 136,
Oh, geez, so you're,
138. Yeah, I think we've only made the 138 payment. That's all that's come in.
no, there was another one, I don't have that. I did not bring the Rex with me, I didn't.
So
This is a
the
question.
concern, and you just hit it right with that, so as I've seen most of these, the 95%, so we hold back 5% at substantial
Right.
completion. And the list of the work that needed to be done seemed like it was more than 5%.
It was, and that's why, there should be a rec too, that, that doesn't go up to the 5%. I know that, I don't have it with me, I apologize, I wasn't expecting to discuss.
I don't know that I've seen that.
Yeah. Okay, we could verify, but so I know that when I did the last punch list, I said, okay, we'll go, I directed them, don't go above this number. We'll process this, we'll do substantial completion. Because he is substantially complete, the punch list is, dollar value is greater than 5%, which is a fair question. And if I knew that was the question, I would have come with all the numbers and said, we're holding 30,000. And so that's why, I issued the substantial completion. And then I think Kathy has said you'd like to date it this spring for warranty purposes. That's not a problem. We haven't signed it yet, so I can change that. He'll be out here within, I'd say, trying to wait till the pavement, the ground warms up. We don't like to do pavement before then, just because it's not an ideal situation. So I'd say in May that he could come in and finish it.
So, Mike, this, it's dated November 26th, but it looks like it's been updated based upon site walks of November 26th and January 22nd, 2019.
Yeah.
Are you saying that this list has now been shortened also?
No, this is the list. This is this is shorter than the November.
Right,
list, yeah.
okay.
So that's the November list. Yeah.
So there's still a couple,
There's
and
still,
again, this is where I said, remove and regrade sidewalks. That sounds large to me. Remove and regrade
it
sidewalks.
does. I fully understand it. When you see that, usually at punch list, we're not worrying about that. Usually we're like, typically my punch list is grow grass.
Grass, yeah.
Grow grass. And we're not at that point yet. So if you don't, I'm comfortable issuing it, that's perfectly fine. I was holding enough money in this, and I'll check that in the second work I did, that it would cover that cost.
Just one more thing for me. Then so the second time it came back, and I don't know if, I'm sure you've seen this, so we said, how much work needs to be done and what's the value of it? And in the second that we got, it was with 4 change orders proposed.
So there's the contract work, and then there's additional work. So there's 4 change orders, and I can go over each one of those individually for you. Let's see. Those change orders have been floating around since quite a while.
So they sort of got mixed up in our question here.
Oh, okay. So change orders are separate from his punch list. His punch list he has to come and do, and we can hold off to doing substantial completion until that point, if you like. So the first change, his change order proposals, and I'll just kind of verbally go over where they came from. His first one was gutter relocation. So in the design, what we did is we put these little, if you've been out there, these little I call them yard drains. They're little round structures that are in front of actually in front of all the secondary entrances. So the water would, from the roadway and from the roof that we saw on the plans, the water would go into those yard drains and then flow away and go off, not create any problems. On the original NICADO plans, what there is he showed the downspouts. He didn't show all the downspouts. So if you look at the building, you have starting from the left, you have the main entrance, then you have the secondary entrance in the middle. If you look at that, on the left side of that secondary entrance, there's a downspout. What it does is when heavy rains come, it comes in, it goes around in front of that secondary entrance to where the gutter is on the other side of the sidewalk going in there. So in some of the units, some of the buildings, whatever, the water has gone into those flat areas.
Patios, yeah.
The patios, yeah, thank you. So the solution, well, first, it's not the contractor's,
What's on the spec?
it's not his responsibility. The downspouts weren't shown, and just for my benefit, I want to say that I came in, I took his plans, I tried to make the best of it. I regret. So a solution, an expensive solution is to take the gutters and take the downspout that's going down there and put it on the other end, which is basically to the corners of the buildings. That proposal's for all 16. I know there's some buildings, some area patios that are more problematic than others. And then the second thing that is an issue to this is, the patio areas, they actually slope into the buildings. I actually went around before I came in here and checked like half a dozen of them. So if the patio area is sloped out to the front of the building, that would create like between the sidewalk and slope, like a little gutter line that would have flowed across. So any water that goes down from the road or comes from around the corner of the gutters flow naturally goes in there. So that's change order 1. That's one of the things, that's on a building, so that's typically what you run under chapter 149, which is building projects, vertical. Yeah. This is a horizontal project, so if we, he's willing to hire a subcontractor to do it. He's having really hard time. It's not what he does for a living. It'd be like me as an engineer, you ask me as on a civil, I go design a nuclear power plant.
Well, I see your question as of today, have you had any other contact with the person for the gutters, so they're still?
Yeah, and I talked to him this morning on the way down. He says, I can't get anybody else, Mike. I have tried and tried. And then one of the questions that came up during a site walk with the state to him was, can you give us the backup? Not can your subcontractor give us the backup? How did you arrive at that number? Because Sean Keating from the DECD, I don't really understand how much a gutter costs on a full year. Mm-hmm. So Sean has some sense of that. And he said, that seems a little high. So we just asked him for his backup. He's approached the guy that he got a quote from, and he's like, no.
I'm not
He doesn't-
putting another cent on us.
Yeah. So, and I don't take it, I just wish that, ideally if we could, that's the solution. It's not cheap. The option 1A is $14,000 based upon, he's tried multiple times. And just on a experience level with Cassidy Construction, he's probably done 7 jobs with me over the last 5 or 6 years. He's easy to work with. He doesn't look for change orders at all. He's probably got, if he wanted to, he has probably $15,000 of change orders he can come and ask for. Mm-hmm. That's not his modus operandum. If you say fix something and you see it while it's going on, he doesn't necessarily ask for change orders. And I had a long conversation with him today.
Weren't you saying also that he couldn't get anybody to do option A, that option B was probably going to be the only solution to that?
He had someone that would do option A, but
Oh, he does have some.
yeah, he had somebody.
Prior to that, he did not.
Yeah, I'll verify that, but I know he had someone that would do option A.
Okay.
The guy gave me the price for it, so
Okay.
they recommend option B. All of them do.
Will they warranty option A? Whoever comes in to do it, or they?
Well, the warranty would fall under his contract, so yeah, it would be a warranty.
Okay.
It would have to be a warranty
So it would only be warranty for a year.
for a year, yeah. Any questions on that one? Okay. Change order number, his change order number, let's see.
You actually had 1 and 2 in there
Yeah.
versus
Yeah,
the
and 3 would
14.
be in there.
Okay, so,
And the gazebo, we understand that's us.
yeah, that's one of those things where he like raised something and shot himself in the foot. The other one with respect to the paving would be, there's 2 areas one area the housing authority has requested to add additional paving. It's on the farther side, basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's so that they can get your snow plow in there, or on the parking lot, they wanted to be able to get by all the parking spots to the left. That wasn't on the plans, it's something that they saw after, and they've asked, you guys have asked for that to be added. The horseshoe is the other part of that, $11,000. So what I did is, I don't know, I have actually, let's see, If you really want a lesson in micro-engineering, here we go.
Yeah, there's some pictures too, I don't know if you're interested in them.
Sure. Fine.
Just got the fire truck and the curves. And that's one of the smaller fire trucks, that's not even the new larger ones.
Yes, he's waiting line, I know what they're doing. So I'll kind of go over that with you. So what we did is, it became an issue that why is the fire truck going off the pavement? And so the first sheet you see is like, you look at this and that horseshoe is that horse, represent the shape of the road out there. We actually did an actual survey out there after. So the dashed line with the little circles in it is the design. It's the one that looks perfect, nice round curve on it. Then the as-built is the dashed line without the dot. And you can see that they're two different lines, especially where the short radius is. His curve came in tighter than what the original design was, generally speaking. So what we did in addition is I said, okay, what if I take a fire truck, and the fire truck we use is a template, and we just run it, and pretend it's driving down that road, and it shows the outline of where the truck would be. And the next sheet is if we did the proposed, you see that it says, what does it say? It's actually an aerial fire truck, so it's 39 feet long. It's pretty, I don't know how big that one was that was out there, but that's pretty.
I'm not sure.
That's a
Probably
pretty.
about that size.
It's a pretty big fire truck. In theory, that fire truck under the design, this is the design one, should be able to, you'll see the dash lines are the dash line is the actual design, and then the solid line inside, you see it kind of goes thin and wide, that's actually the root of the tires. And then if you look on the outside of the curve, you'll see like this jagged line, that's the overhang from the truck. So that's, so what we're looking at, if there's a railing there, would the railing impact it? And so in theory, if you have the perfect driver,
Yeah.
he can make it around there. Then what we did on the next page, the as-built condition. You'll see that it basically just proves that you really need to make it where he truck. If you go out there, you'll see on this little diagram that it shows where the tire goes off. Is where that's the third page.
And then,
You'll see the tire line is inside. It confirms what we did an as-built to say: is it a design flaw or is it a construction flaw?
Mhm.
That's the purpose, and it's a minor construction flaw. It is. When I say construction flaw, it just didn't have the exact radius that it should have had. Now, and I'm not saying that if he did do the exact radius, would that driver, if he drives it perfect, and I'm looking at the picture Dan just gave me, it looks like he just mentally you want to cut the corner as tight as possible.
The
Because
fire truck, I'm not worried, I'm not gonna say them on
No.
how they're driving the vehicles, when they're racing around.
So in a nutshell, what it amounts to is that that Kevin needs to add to asphalt. On the fourth page is he has to add about 129 square feet if you want to make the curve. I talked to him about it this morning. He said he would take care of it. It's not an issue.
So will he submit a different change order now, backing out that?
We would back that out, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm trying not to push him too hard because he was. I think you gave him the email. He was not excited to see my email from
I
yesterday.
gave him.
Oh, did you see the email from Kevin? Right? Did you see?
Yeah, but I
Distribute-
didn't send him an email.
No, that you distributed with the board.
Oh, it gave
Yeah.
to the board today.
Yeah, so
That
I-
was the number one add-on, for your package.
Irritated Kevin
Yeah.
Cassidy, I think is what I said.
Yeah,
And extremely irritated.
Extremely
Kevin
irritated.
Cassidy.
So, I called him at 7 this morning because he's a very reasonable person.
he is.
He's-
We've said that all
He's
along.
extremely
Yeah.
reasonable. And he doesn't want to get in nickel and dime thing. And he says, I'll take care of it, Mike. He goes, but just remember that there's a lot of things out there that, he goes, I paid $1,300 for when they hit electrical line.
But they hit it.
Yeah.
That's why they had to pay for it.
No, but if we want to, if he starts pushing it, we would lose that argument, because on every housing authority that we do, usually the lighting is nobody knows where it is. He has to go out and hire a secondary target company to locate all the underground utility. And that means secondary to buildings, that means water, that means things that they're not there. The general, normal procedure with the DHCD projects, which I get quite a few of them, is that if they find, nobody knows where typically the lighting is, the electrical lighting is. You generally know it goes from pole to pole. And we hit it pretty much on every housing authority site we ever do. And what the state has always done is they've reimbursed the contractor for that cost for the person to come out and repair it. He's not asking for it, but he just says, Mike, come on.
How long's the job? Where was the projected end date?
In the substantial completion,
We were looking back in November, it was written, so if you're looking to get out of here before the end of the year?
oh God, he'll be in, he wants to get in here in like May.
Right.
And he'll be out of
No, I'm talking about, was he looking to have it done in 2018?
the whole job.
Yeah.
He was, but I could tell you he wasn't gonna grow grass in time.
Grass wasn't maybe done
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's fine, so. All right, that's all my questions.
so that's the three things.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, I was just curious about, I appreciate this diagram that you brought, and I wanted to make sure that the length and the width of the hypothetical fire truck, aerial fire truck, is the same as the town did get a new fire truck recently, within the last year or two. And so I just don't know what the dimensions of that fire truck are, and I don't think all fire trucks are the same, I'm sure.
No, so we have
Manufacturers
templates.
change things.
We have templates that we do, and it's an aerial fire truck, so I don't know what the town's new fire truck is. This was designed 3 years ago.
Aerial has a big ladder on the back.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They probably, at 39, to give you an idea, a 39-foot what's a tractor trailer? It's 40 feet, it's 12, so it's not quite a tractor trailer truck.
Mhm.
It's less than a tractor trailer truck. But, you know what, he's gonna come out, he's gonna fix that. What we'll try to do is make sure he goes as much as,
It's, I mean, a lot of times on these pathways around the residential areas, and this is just for future, I mean, we put down that will hold up the truck. It's put it right into the lawn, cement braids, like a honeycomb braid that goes into the ground, grass grows up.
oh yeah. So I call it the milk cart.
No, yeah.
Most people can understand it's like a bottom of a milk crate, and it supports a fire truck.
Right, I mean, they can't have big two-lane highways going in front of the, elderly residential building.
Yeah, like we've done that in like the Sharon Housing Authority, around their back, they had a fire lane.
Mhm.
That's what we put in there.
Right. So I guess that, and this was my concern, that substantial completion meant one thing to me,
Okay.
and it was all about the money. How much money are we holding back in case Mr. Cassidy, who sounds like a wonderful guy and is going through the job and working with everybody, but decides, this is the end, I'm not doing this anymore. And are we gonna be able to meet the specifications of the contract with the holdback?
Yeah, so I that's my job, and I assure you that I don't release, they have many, and it is uncommon to not have, you just have 5% retainage, unless it's a real small job, because, this is big enough that 5% is a fair amount of money. But it isn't unheard of. I have another one in Haverhill that we're holding much more than 15%.
I also want him to get paid. If he's
Yeah.
done 80% of the work, he should have 80% of the money
Oh
in his
yeah,
pocket.
he's done a lot of,
So-
I'll have to check that.
It's, because he's not gonna keep coming back if we're not paying him.
I wonder why he's so irritated. He's been paid 50%.
I did have a question on that, the whole gutter change order. Is that even feasible to work with this as a change order, or should it really just go out to another design, basically?
I think it's easy, so it's basically, if you could get 3 quotes, and he's not even, and you're most likely better off gonna get a price than trying to go through him, but I think that's a better solution to the whole problem, because it's right at like 14,000, I would bet that you could be under Well, I should say that the way the economy is right now, prices is not going in
My
that.
concern is that he had trouble getting people to do this.
Yeah.
What's that gonna
But-
look like for us?
I know that, and I totally understand that. It's not easy. Because it's small enough that nobody wants to touch it. But he has trouble because he doesn't have, it's not what he does for a living. I mean,
We
that's,
even gave him the name of the contractor who put in the
Yeah,
gutters,
yeah.
and he said he wouldn't do them either.
yeah.
And that was, Dan, when was the gutters put in? Was that 6 years ago?
Yeah. DDC construction.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even come back to do it.
It's so small.
Yeah.
PVC, did you say? DDC.
DDC.
Okay.
Nobody wants to pay prevailing wage rate either.
What if I just try to help you out and we'll solicit some quotes? See where they come in. I'll do that.
If you want it.
Yeah. I'll just do that. See, I don't know, I'll ask Sean actually, names of people. And no one says you have to award it, you give it to, and just see if we can get 3.
Okay.
And hopefully it'll be low enough that.
Sounds good to me. That's like a plan.
And then we'll have to figure out how, we'll have to talk with Sean how we can do this through the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Kevin has tried, it's not
Yeah.
like he's,
Oh, I know.
He's-
He's been a great contractor to
he's
work with.
frustrated.
And not- Okay.
Are there still funds left in this project for that change order?
Right at the,
Right at the edge.
they have a new, whatever the title is up there,
PM, project manager.
that handles the money end of it.
Yeah.
The one I just got assigned went out on maternity leave, so now I have a new one. And
Would you have before on the end now?
I had Gordon, then I had Steve Merriam for 5 minutes. I don't even know this woman's name that went on maternity because I never even got a chance to speak with her. And now I have Cynthia Giaspani.
Let's hope it's a good thing.
Okay.
So I have to check on that a little bit more, but when Gordon was still there, we were right at the top of this project, just because of the first architect.
yeah.
And, I mean, this has been going on
Oh, I know.
4.5 years, this job.
As long as I've been here.
Yeah, prior to me,
What? I wasn't here 4.5 years ago. Why did Nikuta?
they had a
Withdraw.
crazy design. It was crazy.
Yeah. And he was the second, wasn't he?
I don't know, I don't think so. I think he was the, and then John Jubilo from DHCD came out and actually walked the site a few times with Dan and I. And that's when Mike went to Dan and I, that makes more sense, and we kind of went forward. So,
It was an unusual, for me personally, it was the first time I've ever been hired by a housing authority through the DHCD to take over a job. Actually, I have 2 of them now,
yeah.
and they're both
Like,
not easy. They're challenges.
So slightly
So
redo what the other surveyor did because you can't trust them almost.
well, and you have to make a decision, you know, do you want to spend $7,000 to go resurvey something that you've already paid for? And in the end, it hasn't cost you, actually, this hasn't cost you anymore by that issue, because he's actually hasn't charged, he's worked with us, let's put it that way. Some contractors, we would have been change ordered to the nth degree.
All right, any further questions for Mike? Hearing none, we thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the work.
Not easy to
Thank you.
go back to Wilmington, it's a good time of day to
I
head
just drive
out.
up down 24 everywhere.
Yeah, the Red Sox will be letting out, you'll be as happy as can be when you get to Boston.
I don't even do that anymore. I just drive around the world on it, 120. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Mike, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
safe travels.
All right, agenda item number 2, certificate of
Well,
substantial.
do we want to vote to approve this certificate?
That's the next one, number 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
they put
sorry.
it on as a separate, yeah.
Separate.
Okay.
certificate of substantial completion, fish order number 088047.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of substantial completion with the understanding that there's enough held back to complete the work associated with the punch list.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Christian. Any further discussion?
Just that Mike was going to report back the percentage, the numbers.
I'll let you know. Well, I know we have only the one payment, and I haven't seen the second back yet.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 3, the minutes of the February 19th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the February 19th, 2019 meeting minutes.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tebow and a second by Commissioner Shaw. Any discussion? Well, she's one behind, right, on the minutes?
Yes.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 4, February 2019 warrant in the amount of $295,143.10.
This one shows the 130, the check to CGC.
Yep.
I will make a motion that we approve the warrant for February 2019 for $295,143.10.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy, a second by Commissioner Whittle. Any discussion?
It's $138,481.50. That was
City Corporation.
to Cassidy Corporation on February 7th.
That's the only one that's been paid to your knowledge?
It is the only one to Cassidy Corporation. Yes.
I had 2 questions. One, we had a clean out. Was that a tough unit?
Yes, that was an eviction.
Okay.
I've had a couple of them recently.
That's usually what happens. And, what's in there? Oh, tow car, we towed a car?
We did. It was actually in a handicap spot for a resident who's in a wheelchair. And it was a spot, the car had been there for umpteen days. It did have a resident sticker on it, but the windows were tinted and we did not see it, and we didn't know whose car it was. And we had it towed, and it took about a week for the resident to come in and say, hey, that was my car.
Did the car have the appropriate handicap spot?
No.
Yeah, it was in a handicap spot?
So it didn't have the placard displayed.
We couldn't see it. If there was one, we did not see it.
Yeah.
But it said resident parking only, and there was a resident's tag on the car. It was in the back window where it was tinted, and we couldn't see the tag on the car, and it had been there for quite some time. And it's a spot down the end here where it's reserved for a specific unit for somebody who's in a wheelchair.
The windshield isn't tinted, and they're supposed to hang a placard in the
Yeah.
windshield.
I did.
That's a state law.
Mhm. Well, you're not supposed to have windows tinted that dark either in your vehicle. Also a state law, but they do.
So you did it as a keep the peace decision?
Yes, we did. Absolutely. And we got them to waive the storage fees.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 5, the March 2019 warrant in the amount of $162,653.14.
I'll make a motion that we accept the March 2019 warrant $162,653.14.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Whittup, a second by Commissioner Christianchidi. Any discussion regarding the March warrant?
Yes, what's up with 22 Julie Road? That's my question, because 22 Julie Road is I looked it up, and it's like a $750,000, 6-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-garage ranch, not ranch, a single-family home, but it shows up on page 1, and then on page 5, and then again on page 9. 22 Julie Road in the address.
It's a misprint on.
Oh, it's a misprint on page 1.
Mm-hmm. And so then when you go to page 5, it's listed twice for $1,500 to Leah Torrivillas, but then on page 9, it's listed once for $1,500 to Alex
They're
Furman.
different residents. It could be a big condominium complex. Those are different amounts. The rent is $1,500. The tenant share, our half is, on the first one, it's $1,358. On the second one, it's $1,245. That's our payment. The rent's, that's the contract rent, $1,500.
Okay,
They're different units, and all Section 8 units are inspected. They have to be inspected.
okay. It's just that when I Googled that address, it looked like a new single-family home with 2 garages, but I don't know, maybe that's why I thought could it be apartments, but the realtor listings implied that it was a single-family home that was sold for $690,000 in 2015. But I don't know if maybe could this be left over from your programming problems?
And get back to you on that if you'd like.
Yes, please.
It's to have 2 different owners for the same address. I understand there would be Unit 1, Unit 2. I mean, you got
They might have changed hands mid-month sometimes, and I don't know on that one, to tell you the truth. Jamie would know the answer to that.
And it could be condos with just nothing, but there should be a delineation. As I said, you see
Unit
it.
number.
Yeah,
Yes.
90 Menlo
Agreed.
Street, number 1,
Mhm.
Easton School Street, number 3.
Mhm.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Agenda item number 6, February 2019 financial statements. Anything stick out at you here, Kathy?
No, it's kind of an odd time of the year. We've already gone over a lot of this, and this is,
The motion to accept and put on file, is that what we do?
yeah, it's usually.
I make a motion to accept and put on file.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Tebow, a second by Commissioner Shaw. Any further discussion regarding the February financial statements? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, this is an interesting one coming. Email on PMR rating for board member training. Oh.
I have a question. Did they tell you who is certified, who did it or not?
They did let me know.
How'd you find out? You went
No, they
direct-
just sent me an email.
A separate email?
Yes.
Oh.
They told me these board members weren't certified, but those board members also received the email, they told me, in the email. But I think we're all set.
You would have been me for.
I just wanted the board to be.
I want to put the authority in corrective action. See what happens.
Better you than me.
I got this
I tried.
myself, and it didn't tell me who didn't do it, and it didn't.
Oh, I
and-
got an email prior to this,
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
couple
they're
weeks
separate.
prior to that.
It's
Yeah,
very
actually, maybe
separate
about a
from-
month prior to this.
Oh, man, okay. All right.
Hell, we'll be sure to get that done.
31st is coming. Oh, no, it came and went, sorry.
Agenda item number 8. Any other discussion on number 7? We good with that one? Good, let's move along. Agenda item number 8, Mass Narrow Program Book for Spring Conference.
I just didn't know what size ad. I know that this is an ad, obviously, they included, we've done before that I would update, but I didn't know what size ad the board would like to place in spring conference book. We usually do that.
I always feel whatever you had the year before is just carry on with it, keep it, it's easier for you, it's easier for everyone. Let somebody else has a different feeling on it.
I'm fine with that.
We're looking at $15-40 difference between, so it's,
They're the big ads for the big guns.
there you go. Any other opinions or comments on the,
I think I had made a comment last time, Kathy, that I was fine, and I don't know what the other board members said, that, you know, as you come up to these, we certainly want to support the advocates for the housing authorities and affordable housing in the state, given where we are today. So, you know, whatever you, I don't, it'd be fine with me if you didn't bring it to the board.
Oh, okay.
Regular.
Oh, all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
no problem.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't mind either if we did full page for the annual spring conference and maybe a half for the fall.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else feels strongly about that, but
No, I agree. One of the things that this organization does is they fight to protect the local housing authorities, and there's a lot of things going on that are working against local housing authorities, and a lot of things that are going on that are taking the resources away from local housing authorities so that it can't be used to fix and repair and operate. So I think it's important that we support the effort.
Any further comments, discussion? All right, moving on. Agenda item number 9, 26 Conequid Ave.
That was before the walkway job.
you sure about that?
No, I don't think.
Not this part, not this phase.
Should have a contest to see who's got the longest
Finishes
thing
first.
on an agenda.
So I did notice that you got a new appraised price value.
Yeah, I had to. In order to issue the request for quote, in talking to Paul McPartland, he said we had to get an updated analysis, which was already done and included in the packet. This is a request for quote that was done by Ludlow as well, and we've adapted it for us. I had Paul McPartland review it, and there are a couple of questions for the board on this. On the third page, third line from the top, or actually the whole top, we can change that to be whatever we want it to be. Ludlow obviously is a small town, smaller than Easton. Successful completion of the sale of at least 5 housing properties in the town of Easton in the past 3 years. I would suggest you'd want somebody with more experience than that. You could go up to 20 homes in the town within 3 years. What we would have to do when this is all put together is all I have to do is send it out to 3 different realtors. I don't have to advertise it. I can move this along, send it out to 3 local realtors with a deadline, which will be on the last page of the quote. Generally 2 weeks out from the date the quote is issued, you give them.
So my concern on this would be, so there's obviously many real estate firms that have done much more than 20 or 30 but who are they going to assign it to?
It would have to be the Realtor that you send it, that Realtor,
That real.
The broker?
That particular broker.
yes.
Yes.
And they have to actually list it, work on it, not give it to the new person who walks through the door.
Correct. Yep. That is what, we're aiming for.
Okay, no, that's what we would want. I
Yeah.
just had the other experience where it's a lower commission job, so they give it to the bottom person on the line.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so, does it say anywhere about that, that we just would like, whoever meets these criteria actually is the broker who
Mhm.
represents us?
I will, give Paul Cartman a call, and he's the attorney, and have him
Yeah.
figure out how to
Right there.
make that a little bit more specific in there. I just need to know what the board would like to use for a criterion on that.
Yeah, you could put a 2 in front of that 5, make it 25
Okay.
housing properties in the town of
Mhm.
Easton in the past 3 years.
25, okay.
Is that too many?
I think it is,
I-
because of the price,
Yeah, I do.
because of the price of the home.
Yeah, I think if you did 4 a year, right, that'd be 12. That'd be 1 a quarter. I think 25 for an individual. I mean, probably a couple people out there have done it, but
Mhm.
Because of the price of the home.
No, it doesn't say it has to be this style home, it just says that they have to have sold so many homes within three years.
Seems like 25.
Okay, go 20.
I thought 20 was a fair number. Just
All
with
right.
the booming real estate market over the past few years, even in Easton, I mean, you've seen the bidding wars yourself.
Yeah, I think 20 is reasonable.
all right.
Yeah, it's 3 years, that's,
5 years' experience for the Realtor, enough for everybody, if you want to go higher on that as well.
and I think that's where you might be able to spell out that you want it to be either the, should say broker with 5 years' experience, but then you could be shortchanging yourself if there's only one broker in the firm, usually is the owner. But then you won't get the newbie on the block either. So I would just ask Paul.
On,
Can we state that it's just a broker, not a licensed realtor?
yeah, that I will do. It's the other criteria, I mean, that I can ask him, but as long as the board sets up the other criteria and I firm that up with Paul, I can move this out really quickly. The property next to Quantica just went on the market last week. And I think that may be a win-win for the housing authority, that property as well. If somebody timed it correctly and could go in and possibly purchase both plots and divide it.
Who's the realtor on that one? I know you told me to.
And I can't remember off the top of my head right now. It might be Caldwell, I'm not 100% sure though. It is on the market for $275.
I don't have a problem with the 5 years' experience. I think that
I agree.
it's a fairly,
And what do we want to do for how many properties? 20?
should we go a range 15 to 20?
Well,
I wouldn't give you an actual number. I wouldn't, yeah.
I'll go with the 20 then. If it doesn't work out, then it. Anything further on 26 Paconequid? And there's nothing we need to,
No,
for now anyway, right? Who did the new Was it Meredith?
Yes. She did the first one as well.
How much was the difference? Do you remember?
The first one, I want to say was 248, I think, and this came in a little lower, because there are actually more tear-down properties to compare it to than there were before. Yeah, it dropped slightly.
Oh, I thought it went up.
I thought it went up too, I thought we were at 202 before.
No, oh no, it dropped slightly.
Let's see if I can pull it out.
I think it was 241 before. You could pull out the, yeah, damn it, as the old one.
Let's see.
All right, now my only fear, thinking of the 20 properties, is I don't want anything to delay this.
That is too high.
Yeah,
So do you want to drop it to 18?
that's 6 a year.
In 3 years. It's been a good market for
In
past
Easton.
years.
In
Yeah, but
Easton.
it's been a good market in Easton. You didn't say it had to be a little, it doesn't matter what the property was.
Right, just has to be sold in the town.
Right. In talking to realtors around, they felt that 20 would not be a problem. But if you want to drop it, 18 seems fair.
I'll go back to 18. That's my thought, but whatever was once.
I'm not an expert in the area. I
Yeah.
have no idea, so. The other realtors said 20 was fine, and 18 is close enough for 20. It's not gonna make a huge difference in the qualifications of the person.
Well, here's the, if I pass this to you, maybe you can find the page quickly.
Should be in the back.
Wow, that was pretty good.
On the low side, it was, proceeds would have been 223, on the high side, 234. And on this one, oh, it did drop, I'm backwards, I'm sorry. Low side 206, high side 2, no, it did drop.
It did drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the high side, 217. See, I'm second guessing myself now, yeah, so it did drop.
That's
But
why
that's-
I don't trust my memory anymore.
There's so much going on all the time, it's hard to keep it all straight.
Yes. Yeah, this is all just Paquonicket Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
which is why you don't like it.
All right, you ready to move along?
Yes?
Discussion on increase to laundry, currently $1.
I just wanted to get the board's opinion on $1, just in talking to the directors and whatnot, is very low. Obviously, we've replaced quite a few machines. Water goes up all the time. I didn't know how the board felt, or if the board wanted to even consider raising laundry fees.
What kind of, we get top loaders or front loaders?
Now, we've got all
Front
front,
loader.
we have one front,
One each.
two top.
Can anybody remember how long it's been $1?
I've been here 6 years and it's been $1 since I've been here.
When I came here, it was 50 cents.
I'm fortunate enough to not have to go to the laundromat. I'm curious what laundromat rates are. Does anybody know?
Dan happens to know. Dan, what does it cost at the
Used to call me.
The wash and dry is Stoughton, $4.50 a wash, $4.50 a dry.
Yeah, laundromats are out of sight.
Yeah.
So my washer and dryer are paying for themselves more than once.
Yeah, it's not a money-making business, that's
No.
for sure.
No.
That's never gonna happen.
I'm not trying to, but,
No.
you know, we haven't had
Break
to
even a
replace a
little
lot of machines.
We own the machines?
We own
Yeah,
machines,
well, it's $1.
yes.
All right, what are you gonna do?
We collect the money.
Yes. And it goes into the money market account at, Easton
Get ready to-
Savings. We don't, it just keeps,
Huh?
it goes in there.
Has the water rate gone up at all in the last?
In town, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure
And
either.
I'm missing the machine replacements that we've done recently.
I'm just concerned that it could cause hardship if we go up too much. I wouldn't want to cause hardship.
Well, at the very most, it would be a quarter, I would think. It wouldn't go any higher than that, so.
I just
In my
ran the laundry fees from a lot of authorities, and most came in at $1.50. Some were at $1, the highest it went was $2, and that was like 2 authorities that came in at, one was $1.75, one was at $2. Most were $1.50. There was some that were $1.25, there were some that were $1.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, I did it for my authority, I didn't do it for myself. Sorry.
Twofold, I was kind of in the loop on that, that's what made me stop thinking about it.
And you guys just did a new contract.
Yeah, we did. We went up a quarter to $1, so it was 75 cents. But most you'll find in the $1 to $1.50 range, somewhere.
What's Brockton at?
$1.25. And those went up a year or so ago, year and a half.
2 years ago, we renewed the contract, we put it out to bid, got new machines. That's why we got kind of, we went up because we did it with a contractor. The contractor takes 48% of the price, and they need to make all the money back.
We don't have that many machines, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they would still do it. How many machines do you have here?
Two,
Three
Three.
and
two in length.
4 at least.
Oh, 2 washes, 2 dryers,
Correct.
right, that, yeah.
2 and 3 washers and 3 dryers here, so you have 10 machines altogether. So they cost, I don't know, $1,200 a piece.
He's scratching that, what, 8 something, 898?
$8.98 with the coin?
Mm-hmm. All set up too.
Yeah.
Do you have any maintenance issues with them?
Okay, not well, we did one before we replaced, I mean, as they get older, you have them, but not too often now that we have the new one.
Mostly people just trying to force the lid open. And from there, if you force the lid open, you have all kinds of problems after that.
That's crazy.
How about we go through the end of the year at $1, and then first of the
Revisit it
year, we'll
next year.
revisit it.
That's no problem, sir.
Unless somebody has a,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that gives everybody a chance to mull it over a little bit.
do you have problems with any outsiders coming in to take advantage of your good rates?
Yeah, we have had a few.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Oh,
Family members?
Not so much family members. We had one recently up in Elite Circle who was caught by tenants, and they were, they said that the tenant said they were going to call the police and everything. And then the person left. The next morning when we went in to clean the building, they left a note on the bulletin board that said, "We are just here to teach our handicapped son how to do laundry." So we left a notice on the wall that said, "You are trespassing unless you're a tenant, and you can suffer the consequences."
So the handicapped son doesn't live here?
No, he did not.
Okay.
No, but it has happened a couple times. That's why if you go up in the laundry rooms, we do have signs up that say, "If you're not a tenant here, you can't do your laundry here."
Well, it's not the only place it happens, Dan. if that
No,
makes you feel
sure.
better.
Yeah, and the community rooms are locked. So that's
It's gonna happen.
eventually, I'm thinking.
All right, any other discussion in regards to the laundry increase?
I like the suggestion of waiting until the end of the year.
All right, next up, the executive director evaluation. I did hand out copies of everybody's evaluations that I had. Everything, I
You
mean,
want to offer offer if she wants to.
Is it all right, is it all right if we discuss this? Or would you
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
rather?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
There's nothing that's below meets expectations, so that's a positive thing that everybody's, when they're filling them out, there's four of us did it, and of course, everybody's opinion of what meet and exceeds, it's different. Some things meets is you're doing just fine, and others may think that you have to put exceeds to say that you're doing just fine, but overall, the board is happy.
Thank you. I'm
That's a
happy
good
here as
thing.
well.
The comments are all positive, that you're doing a good job, you're tenant friendly.
Moving the authority forward. Keeping everything on track. Jumping the hurdles, putting out the fires.
Hurdles are getting a little high though.
Fires are getting bigger, the hose is a little smaller.
Fire truck can't make it around the bend either sometimes.
And part of the, as we know, that DHCD determined last year what you were gonna be paid, and so now if we give you a positive evaluation, we can't say we're gonna give you 2%, 3%, 20%. Evidently, we're being told, we can just tell you you're doing a good job, and we are very
I'll take it.
appreciative of
Thank
that. I don't know.
Did your contract ever get approved? It did, didn't it?
We have a verbal extension of my contract.
So still nothing.
We haven't, they haven't, SNR hasn't come out with anything. Do you know anything?
No, I know, I submitted mine using one of the Mass Narrows, and they rejected it for a bunch of reasons that had absolutely.
And you
nothing to do with
use
the
the
contract.
template.
Yes.
That's what I've been hearing, so that's why.
With like an 8-page rejection letter saying, you know, that what I stated on page 1 should have been restated on page 8.
I know, they go through and fine tooth comb.
So that's fine. As far as the contract goes, my opinion, and I think this has some weight, is that we are the body that hires you, we are the body that has the authority through Mass General laws to negotiate with you, and as long as we've signed the contract and you've signed the contract, we have a binding agreement. We walked away from it because we said DHC didn't sign it, I think we would be liable, and I think everybody at this table would agree with that. So it's not a huge concern unless they stop funding us because of it, which was a threat they made at one time, approving budgets,
Correct.
but they're approving the budget, so.
They approved the budget. So that was my concern.
And again, we should have a collegial relationship with the staff of the HCD to get all the work that needs to get done. I think this is just sort of an interfering
Yes.
piece.
Anyone else have any comments for the director?
On mine, Kathy, I put that you've grown in the position. I know you came in and there was we were very happy with Michael before, and he had a certain skill set that he had, and that you came in and you worked with a different skill set. You know, that, again, I thought it was sort of a yin and yang, to be quite honest with you, and that you've grown in the different areas, so that will continue to be challenged, I guarantee you.
Oh,
Just
yes.
like this job we spoke with the architect earlier, Mr. Carter. I mean, those are challenging things.
Thank you.
And I pointed out that I see a positive communication between our executive director and our staff. I found that favorable, a team effort.
And I think the repertoire with the rapport with the tenants is nicely improved, and I really like the Christmas party, and I think they really enjoy the Christmas party, and I think that's a huge plus that's been brought in.
Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Even though I've never made it to one, but it's on my calendar.
Why do they do it at Christmas? It's such a big.
I know. Can't make it to my
Back
own.
in the summer. gonna try one this summer. We'll
Okay,
do
there you go.
community healthcare connections, yes.
All right.
I will let you know.
All right, any other questions or comments regarding the executive director evaluation? Hearing none, we'll move on. Executive director report is agenda item number 12. So Dan, at $450 a load, how many uniforms can you get in there?
It was a dog bed, actually. If it wasn't a dog bed, I would have brought it to my mother's house.
Was it a bunch of sneakers?
A puppy bed.
As far as the vacancies on this report, 12 Elise Circle is going to be leased tomorrow. 34 Parker was leased, 62 Elise was leased, and all units that are currently vacant have accepted offers on them.
Really caught up with the champ system.
Yeah. Dawn's been doing a fabulous job on it, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, lousy system.
And then the other multicolored attachment I left on the table was just from Proton Energy showing the market rate of the utility right now for electricity and how much we'd saved if we had stayed on the market rates. So that was just a spreadsheet they had put together for us.
So they're saying we saved $90,000 by going out?
Since this contract, if we were on market rate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what we all were 15 years ago.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
I just signed one for 1.1015.
Not bad either.
Not bad, not as good as
I know.
0.0849.
I know.
Yeah,
That was
we-
phenomenal.
that was
Lucked
great
out on
when
that
we
one.
did that, yeah. I remember we were anxious to get moving because we
Because we didn't want to change.
because we knew that that rate was so flexible and we wanted to grab it.
We got it for a good, long term too, which is nice.
Yes.
On the uniform the uniforms,
Mhm.
I think you should sit down with Dan and the others and see, I mean, if you can come to an agreement on a uniform allowance, that means if you keep your uniforms in good shape and keep them nice and clean, and you get the check, and whenever we get the check, and it doesn't cost you that much, then it can be a benefit to you. Do you know what I mean by that?
No, usually what I've done in the past is I go out and buy them.
Yeah,
I sit with them and go over what they need, 5 days of clothes, and do it as they need it twice a year.
Makes the deal, you have an allowance, you have a policy here, they have to wear, there's warning systems
Oh, yeah.
here. Again, if they're up to it, and I'll tell you where my father was a police officer growing up, and he was a very calm guy, but if you wanted to get him mad, do something to his uniform, because he had 6 kids and he didn't want to buy another uniform with that uniform. That was shoes for the kids going to school. So if you can take care of yourself, if you can take care of your stuff, and I know at times you can't, you get paint on it, gets ripped, whatever, but if you can, as I said, if that would be, I think, a housing authority could save money, the maintenance guys could put a little money in their pocket, and they, again, that's something that would be my
So
opinion on
give them an allowance, tell them how I expect them to look on a daily basis.
Right, yeah.
Uniform allowance, meaning uniform as in they all look the same.
Unless they prefer to have an actual technical uniform.
Well, that was part of it,
Well,
the
you
uniforms
could-
that Cintas, it's been a nightmare. They return things that they shouldn't return, sometimes they don't get things. They're not comfortable. I know in the summer they probably prefer to wear a cotton t-shirt with the logo and their name on it and whatnot.
So right now, Dan's wearing a jacket, I can't tell exactly what kind of, and what we would say is, Dan, let's get that emblem, whatever the emblem is, and you put it on it till summer, and you put it on a t-shirt. If it's the winter and you want to put it on a type of, but just as long as it says Easton Housing Authority.
That's what I do. We have t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts and
Yeah.
zip up hoodie sweatshirts or whatever they want.
That's
We
what I
put-
did
We put their
in my past
the
one.
logo on it and we just buy them all. We give them money to go
You
buy
buy them all,
jeans.
right, that's
We
what I'm
buy
saying.
Yeah.
What you're saying is, say, here's $500 to each guy,
Get out
You
of the
need to get
uniform business.
uniforms.
Here you go, you guys. If you can get a deal on those shoes somewhere, you can get,
Well, they
that's what
get
you do
boot
right now,
allowance.
right? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but it's dollar for dollar.
Okay,
It says, under this policy, if they go up and they buy $80 boots, right, you get $80. If you buy $125 boots,
you
You
get
get
100,
120.
that's what we have right now for the
right,
boots.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I would say, we give you $125 if you can get $80 boots.
You got to keep, okay.
That's, again, my opinion, not his.
Anything's better than the company we use.
So sit down with the three of them and see what they
That's my
prefer.
opinion, just
Okay.
my opinion.
I
There are-
like that.
I have a suggestion, a thought. Dump Cintas and find another company, and then that would save
We
you.
did that, and we got another company,
And they were bought
and we
by
loved them.
Cintas.
They were G&K, and then they were bought out by Cintas, and we wound up with them again. That's exactly what we did, and it was crazy. And they have been, Cintas has been a nightmare since the day they took over. I fought with them on the bills, that's why, some of the bills,
Yes, I've seen that.
I
Yes.
refused to pay them because we didn't get things, and then they'd adjust it, and it's been a battle since they took over.
So it's almost like all of this effort that you've been putting into editing their invoices and fighting with them over their errors, you're willing to take that, put that time into taking on the responsibility.
I mean,
Wow.
we've got a great crew of guys too, so I'm sure that they will always be appropriate and dressed too.
Right. I
We're
know.
always looking for, we were actually looking into Mascor, because they have superior Carhartt clothing,
Yes.
which is a lot stronger than,
Correct.
this cheap. This isn't even Dickies. This is some no-name brand that I've never heard of before.
Yeah. And that's what I'm concerned about is if we take, the housing authority takes on the responsibility of buying the clothes. I know from experience that the good stuff is expensive,
But it won't
but
last.
it lasts.
Yes.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, but if we bought it from Mascor, the prices are better than what they would get going
Good.
to a Wear or Bob's or wherever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
I'll
they would
sit
do
down with the guys and
Embroidery and all that stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
we'll do.
I've never really understood the expense monthly to wash their clothes and stuff. I never quite got that, but it was something that was under Michael, I believe, started that
So-
at one point.
When I sit down with the guys, we'll redo the policy and present it back to the board, just because there is a policy in place right now. Okay.
And I noticed that Cintas also does the mats, this mats.
No,
No.
They're not doing the mats anymore?
they offer, but not for the price they charge.
Okay. I thought I saw that on an invoice somewhere.
They do shredding too, they don't do your shredding.
No, we do just shred it. And they come every 6 weeks.
Okay, any other questions or concerns regarding the executive director report? Hearing none. Agenda item number 13, public comment or concerns.
I'm the only one that will speak up about this because they keep nudging me out there. So when are they gonna get all the pine cones and the tree branches? I know it can't be done immediately,
Vacancies first.
huh?
Vacancies first.
Yeah, we know that.
Because we want to get to it as soon as
Because
possible.
I'm tired of looking out my kitchen window and seeing that branch go back and forth in the wind.
I'm gonna drag that out of there tomorrow. Try to get to it today, but
A
we
lot
have
of it
inspections.
is, I mean, the snow just went away, we just had snow not even that long ago,
And
but
not only
we've
that,
had a lot of vacancies.
these people here that we sit out, any day that's good. And how much longer are we gonna look at these pine cones?
Hey, I want to borrow your rake.
I picked up a bunch of branches the other day and put them in a pile there.
Thank you.
Well, it was nice out, so I thought, guess I'll pick them up. So I did, not the great big ones, but I did all of
I'll
them.
get that one, I think, too.
Yeah. I wouldn't be moving
I
that.
said,
I
that's not to be done
picked
immediately.
I appreciate your concern. It's a little early. If they stop bringing heavy equipment onto the grass, they're gonna sink in. But we, and as Dan said,
vacancies. I was out in my yard, wanted to do a lot more last weekend than I could, but I was sinking into the mud and realized, I better
Yeah.
wait a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get it cleaned up because Kathy you're just about done with vacancies, right?
Almost.
No.
It's, all the transfers.
With a lot of transfers.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to move downstairs, right?
Yep.
I'm not complaining about the ruts in my grass.
You
Not
know
at all.
these guys are good and they'll take care of that.
But I know they'll take care of that, but I'm tired of trying to walk across them pine cones and the branches.
We'll have
Stay
a
on the
pine
pavement.
cone bonfire.
Well,
Hey,
I picked up a lot of branches the other day.
oh, I know you did. I know
Thank
you
you.
did. But I can't, if I bend, I won't get up.
Well, I can't, so that's good exercise, if you're a member, so I'll pick them up.
Thank you.
But like I said, I don't expect it to be done immediately.
Yeah, we know that. They're
You
busy.
know it would be
Monday's
done.
soon enough.
You know it would be done though. You know
Yeah, I
these
know,
guys
but
will do
money
it.
comes
There's
first.
branches out there.
I
Gotta fill
know.
the units.
Oh, yeah.
No, tell me about
Can't be
branches.
done.
Empty units don't pay their rent,
Yeah.
so.
Now do you feel better?
Right.
I said that I didn't care if it was done.
Sandra was gonna, bring her wheelchair onto the,
Yes, ma'am.
over to the patio.
Yeah.
She said,
Okay, wait a minute, Barbara.
Yeah.
with all the, pine cones, she said, it was too high to.
Yeah.
I have a question about when you want things done in your unit.
Mm-hmm.
You're always talking about clean and sanitary. I had asked to have my stove moved out and cleaned under it because I found like a couple pens and this and that wasn't mine. So I was told by the maintenance man that they're not allowed to pull that stove out. And I'm wondering why, because I've hurt my neck seriously from pulling that out myself, for one thing. Why?
I understand now you had an appointment to meet with Kathy last week,
Yes,
and you didn't keep that.
not with this. I've got doctors I'm seeing, I'm getting injections in my neck and my back.
Because she would be the one to answer these questions for you that.
Oh, then Kathy.
I did answer that question for you when we spoke about it. I said, you asked for maintenance to clean under your stove.
Mm-hmm.
And I indicated maintenance does not clean under stoves. There's 184 units. It isn't their responsibility to clean under somebody's stove. When a unit's turned over and maintenance goes in and cleans it, they pull out the stove, they pull out the refrigerator, they clean under the stove, they clean under the refrigerator, they clean inside the appliances. Once you're in a unit, maintenance does not move items to clean under it. If there was a problem with your stove, they would have pulled the stove out had there been a problem, but they don't pull it out to clean under it.
But that's on the side of the stove. You had food that goes
Mhm.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they can't get the filler to put in there.
No, there are things you can buy. We don't supply those. There are
And
little
why
guides.
not?
We're a public housing authority. There's 184 units. Some people don't want them. It's just not something that we supply.
Oh, interesting. But wouldn't that be considered safe and sanitary where you're not dropping food
No,
down
we
there?
go by the state sanitary code. When we talk about safe sanitary housing, it's by the state sanitary code. Every resident's responsible for keeping their own units clean. When you cook by your stove, you have to be a little more cautious, I think.
Can we have, say your kids come in and move the stove out and
Absolutely.
clean?
If
That's
you
all
have a
right, right?
PCA, you can have your
I
PCA
move
clean
my
under
own.
your stove.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, you're strong.
Yeah, see,
Absolutely.
I have Travere, and this left side is weaker than the rest of me.
Do you have a PCA?
Who's
Do you have a person?
I
like
have
that?
a homemaker.
That's what you can ask the
I
homeowner to do
asked
that.
them, I called them in a minute, and they said she is not allowed to lift or hold anything heavy. And I have no relatives. My sister's in Florida, my other sister's dead. My nephew fell at Coca-Cola, and now he's disabled.
Wasn't there a gentleman that was with you that used to
Mike.
help you out, who said he'd help
Mike.
you out with anything?
Well, Mike said he could, but what happened is his neck, he's getting shots and having nerves burnt out of the neck and the back from a fall he took off a building.
Yeah. Unfortunately, maintenance can't do that, Beth.
Let me just ask, you said you have a homemaker, who, is that through an agency?
Through Old Colony Elderly,
Call them and ask if you qualify for chore service.
who?
Chore service. Chores, like if someone's doing chores for you.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
heavier,
she comes in and vacuums.
no, that's housekeeping, that's a homemaker. There's a higher level called chore service, where they would move a couch and vacuum behind it. Again, that would be something that the housing authority would not come into your unit and clean it. But there are services for people who have disabilities and limitations that they may qualify for.
Okay, another thing I had asked for was a light out back, because I'm at the very end, and I've been using the back door because the front door is too hard for me to open. And they said evidently no to that too.
You've never asked us for a light out back. I've never seen that request.
Okay, let me find it.
Do we have lights out in back?
There is a light.
There is a light
main
out back?
back door of the building, yes.
But it doesn't shine on my area.
There's a porch over your area,
A what?
a porch.
But there's no lighting.
Around the corner from your porch there is.
Yeah.
To run a new light to your area, we'd have to have an electrician come out and
Why
run a wire.
can't you buy one of those solar powered ones? So it'll light up the cement there?
They don't typically work. You'd have to get those in the ground ones, and they don't work. They'd have to be wired, but you've never, that hasn't been requested, Beth.
Okay. Now, here's the story. I had emailed you and emailed you. That has been gone back to 3/29.
But you need to, like I said, when you have an appointment with Kathy, these are day-to-day issues that if you're not happy with her response, then you could come to us, get on the agenda and come to us. But if she hasn't even had a chance, then all we're gonna tell you is you need to meet with Kathy.
I don't see anything where you're looking for a light.
Okay. Maybe it was on another page I had.
I don't recall it at all, and Dan doesn't recall it at all. You've never discussed that with me.
Could you write it down now then?
We will look into it. I can't
I
promise that's
would
what's gonna happen.
appreciate that, because I'm afraid of tripping over that, and I can't find the keyhole without using two hands,
The keyhole for,
the door.
This is, I don't remember getting this either. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I just gave you the one where it said I had pulled the stove out and hurt my neck.
All right, well, you just put this in front of me and said you had sent this to me. I've never seen it. But again, as Mr. Sheedy said, I would have referred it back to Mrs. Steiger to see if the work orders were created and if they have been,
We have
addressed.
addressed several of those issues, and we had a meeting to go over these issues. Beth, you didn't call me, but you managed to come in here to write more things down today and give them to the receptionist today.
Yeah,
We
so
could-
I could get them copies. I did a lot of copying myself. Now, I'll point this out to you. What did get fixed today and what didn't.
Okay,
That's the
let me address a
ending
few things.
result.
They fixed the screen.
Yes.
We don't use handcuffs. Dan already told you, we spray outside the building. You agreed to have them spray outside the building to take care of the ants. The stove can't be leveled. It is what it is. There are not wheels that we can provide for your stove. And the hot water, he explained that to you. Sometimes hot water takes a few minutes to get hot coming through your pipes. It does reach 120 and it's fine, that works.
So you just stand there and wait for it to happen.
Yes, I do it myself at home. It's the nature, the hot water tanks are in the middle of the building. It does take a few minutes. Hot water isn't instantaneous. It just doesn't get to 120 degrees
Well,
automatically.
I've been here for a year, so you could say I'm new, okay, to these things. But I never get a response back why things weren't
I
done.
spoke to you about it outside, and then we agreed to have a meeting so that we could speak to these issues. And then you didn't come to the meeting, and you didn't call to say you couldn't make it. I was here waiting for you. I mean, I can't address things, and we've addressed the work orders, and we've addressed the clothesline. You want it moved. We can't move it because of the perk system with the septic. We can gladly take down the clothesline, though. We can take that down.
But not the metal pole.
We can take down the poles, but there'll be no more clothesline out back. And you said you didn't want to do that because some of your residents in the building use the clothesline. We can't relocate it because of the system with the wastewater system.
How about masking tape that's for residents, and you can put it around them?
These are issues that the board, I mean, this board volunteers their time to come in. I think you could find the time to come in and meet with me, which I've said to you several times we can do to go over some of these things and then address them. Unfortunately, if you don't like the answer to some of these issues, you feel a need to come to the board when there's nothing that we can do about some of the issues.
Well, it asks at the end about people's concerns.
Can we make an agreement that you make an appointment to meet with Kathy and come in and keep the appointment? And you can discuss all these things in detail at that time.
And if you
Okay.
need to reschedule it, you just call her and she'll change that appointment for you.
Pam, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, would you mind sitting back down?
Yes, and
No,
maybe
no,
please
no.
take this with you.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, if you're worried about walking in the dark, this is called an Innova keyring flashlight. You put it on your key ring and it lights up. You can press or you can switch it on and it will light up your key for you, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, next meeting. Any other questions? I'm sorry. My brother says it looks toasty at Fenway.
Yeah, we're at May, I had it out.
May 14th would be the second Tuesday.
I am fine with that.
That's fine with me.
Me too.
That's not the conference or anything.
No, the
right?
conference is the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, starts the
Following
19th.
through, yeah, probably.
All right, any further? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn and I'll second.
All in favor?
I'll say.
Aye.
Aye.